With stations all over the U.S., North America, Puerto Rico, Guam, and by satellite, we are Coast to Coast AM. Connie Willis, your host. I hope that you'll join me on my shows. I take you out on live investigations of creepy hotspots. This is one of them. It was included, by the way, when I was out in Sedona at Bradshaw Ranch. That's Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis. That is my feature in that show is called my latest project of creepy hotspots, and it's all live and it's fun and it's exciting, unless we can't get there because of Wi-Fi, and that happens a lot because a lot of these areas are in the middle of nowhere and Wi-Fi is not there yet, and we are rooting and tooting on Elon Musk to get on the ball with that Starlink. Thank you very much for working on that for us. He's doing that for us. I just know he is. I just know it. So go to ConnieWillis.com and sign up for that show, or Connie After Dark, paid memberships, and a great exclusive community. Become a Blue Rocker or a cadet. So learn more again at ConnieWillis.com. With us tonight on our open lines that are starting right now, Melinda Leslie. She's going to stick around. You can find her at UFOsightingtours.com. And she's got a money back guarantee if you don't see anything. And she is at, let me get the number again. It was 1,764 successes of these tours, where that means it's been that a sighting has happened and everybody's confirmed that. I do that with my show as well, so I understand what she's talking about. And I was 1,761. That will one day be a question on Trivial Pursuit. So remember, I was 1,761. We got that right, Melinda? We all set with that?
You're cracking me up, man. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So we got a lot of people that want to talk to you. It's open lines. Is there anything else you want to start with before we get to these calls? And we'll try to get to each and every one of them.
Long story short, the owner of the Center for the New Age, which is where my office here is in Sedona, and I do everything out of, texted me. Someone had sent them or posted this in some way, but they texted this, and someone had said, listen to you right now on Coast to Coast radio show. You offer no evidence of your observations, wasting my time. Well, first off, this is radio. Okay? I've had people come out and film over the last 70 days, not to mention previously, but over the last 70 days, I've had 1, 2, 3, 4 people come out and film stuff with me now. So we've got some footage of these things we've been seeing recently, this extra stuff, like I said, coming up from the base and whatnot. So we caught it on footage. I have the documentation. I have the evidence. I documented the evidence for Lockheed owning that facility and everything. So I have the documentation on that. So I have video evidence. I've had people take photos. I have photographic evidence, video evidence, and documentation. And then I have witnesses galore. 55 nights of always having people with me witnessing it. And anywhere between, 2 to up to like 15, ranging anywhere between 2 and 15 witnesses on every tour. So seeing this with me. And so that's evidence. So when you have photographic, video, documentation, and witnesses, what do you mean I don't have evidence? So
will you be putting them up on your site, on your website, on the UFO sighting tours? Is that information up there?
A podcast has been taped where I'm going to be showing that evidence is already being edited into it, and I'm going to be posting it. I'm not posting it. It's being posted on YouTube, but I will post links to it. I think it'll be up before Sunday night, and I will post links to that, and people can watch that evidence there. I'm presenting some of the evidence as part of that. I already did, long story short, and it's being edited into it as we speak, and so that'll be posted on Twitter. And I'm sorry, what?
No, that's good. That's good that you do that. There's always going to be people that are going to be like that, and they're going to demand that kind of thing. And they're ornery and they're inconsistent, and they're, it's just going to happen. It's just, you know what I'm saying? So just put all that stuff up kindly.
It's a fair
And
statement, but you guys,
it is. It's absolutely fair, but you don't want to. But don't fight. You can't fight and argue with them. It just takes forever, and it's just like, you know what? Just say, hey, I'll put up what I got. But when it comes to the documentation, all that kind of stuff, put all that down. Great, do a book, whatever. Lay all that out. But the best and the coolest thing is that a lot of these people that are like, you don't have all the evidence. A lot of times you can't get evidence for some of this stuff. Now you're talking about the evidence you can get down. That's all cool. But, the best thing of all is being able to experience these things and seeing it for yourself. And to me, it's even like, whatever. I got to pull up the documents, this and that. I'm not here to prove to the world. Me, myself, I just want to see the stuff for myself. And I go to these places and see them. And I love it. And that's what's kind of great about my show. I take people with me and do the same thing. But, what's really great is when you get to see it. And let me tell you, if you're in Sedona, it happens so much that it's not a big deal. It's like living in Peru or Brazil. It's not a big deal. It just happens so much.
I'm so glad you just said that. It's been long understood. Residents here, if you gather any 10 residents together, at least 5, if not 8 of them have seen UFOs. It's that common here.
It's that common. It's seen all the time. And then the amber ones, I mean, that's what Tom Dongo talked about all the time, seeing just in the canyons constantly. And when he took people on tours and things as well. And I've seen that kind of thing myself, even up in the Rockies and other parts of the world. You just got to get out and look. You got to get outside of your house and look.
And Connie, if you'll humor me for just a second, that you've done that a lot, but if you'll do it again, which is that amber light stuff. I've taken out physicists and plasma physicists. It was mostly a handful of plasma physicists coming on my tour who say when we're seeing that, you're seeing something emanate such a giant electrical field, it's ionizing the air around it. That ionization is called electrical plasma. It's ionization of the air. And so when people see amber light, which is the number one color reported with UFO sightings, like all the major UFO reporting agencies know, it's like 80% of sightings reported are amber light. And amber light means you're seeing plasma. You're seeing ionization of the air from something giving off such a huge field of energy. It's ionizing the air.
Ben Lone Tree talking about the same thing with us too. He went into that deep. Yeah. So let me let's get to some call. Right. Let's get to we got a ton of calls. So let's see if we can't grab them and give as much precise information to them as possible so we can try to move on to the rest, because I know a lot of people want to talk to you before you go off of the line. Wildcard line number 5, let's talk to Brendan out of Austin, Texas. Hey there, Brendan. You are on the air. Welcome back to Coast AM. How are you, Brendan?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're safe, and I hope everybody else is safe. I will be super quick. You talked about the night vision goggles and lights moving, and that there was like a lead element, and that the jets were escorting them. If they're escorting them and ensuring safety, doesn't that kind of imply that there's a threat? So have you ever seen any combat with your night vision goggles, or even simulated combat? Are they just practicing dogfights up there? And super quick also, were you treated good with your military abduction? Was that a good or a bad experience?
Both are excellent questions. Thank you. Thank you for asking those. Okay, regarding stuff being a threat, I think they're securing airspace so no one uninvited comes in, whether that's public aircraft that they don't want, because even though Connie said they're flying this in the open, most of it's at a distance that is requiring night vision goggles to see, so they probably have a lot of cover of night, cover of darkness, and the only time we're really able to see them with our own eyes is when they power up. And most people, if they're just going to see an orange or red light in the distance, they're instantly going to assume plane and not think twice about it. So I think it's far enough away, and it requires the night vision to see most of it, that people aren't necessarily seeing it that close up, although I have interviewed a few people with ranches out where our ranches are, and they do see it go over them. And then again, Jeremiah and his girlfriend had one come down low over them, and that was a triangle. So in that case, it was a triangle. So now, as far as seeing dogfights and anything like that, no. The threat, I think, is from maybe they're concerned about foreign nationals coming in and seeing this and seeing what we have, or even citizens and other planes flying in the area. They're securing the airspace so no one enters that who isn't invited. That's kind of my thing.
And how was? Oh, did you mention the? He was asking you about being an abductee, military
Oh, the
stuff.
military experiences, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, they're a mixed bag for myself and others. I will tell you this: all ET abductees, NHI, non-human intelligence abductees, who have that stuff happen, who then have covert human involvement, say the humans are a lot worse. The ETs seem to, granted, some of those can be sometimes traumatic, but that's more rare. Luckily, people feel like they're, treated fairly well. They're shown information, educated, healed of stuff, healings and stuff happen. In the covert ones, those guys tend to be, I'll say the word jerks, but you know the word I mean. They tend to be pretty bad. And it's an abuse of power. It's unconstitutional, immoral, illegal, etc. You can't do this to, whether it's here in the U.S. to American citizens or if it's another country to citizens of that country. I think it's just immoral, unconstitutional, illegal, without a doubt. It's kidnapping, plain and simply, and they can be abusive in that. In their abuse of power, they can be very rough with people, unfortunately. Now, in my own case, at times they were threatening, and at times they had perfectly lovely bedside manner. They treated me good, and at times it had a more clinical sense. So I'm lucky, but I have worked with cases because I researched that. I've worked with people who've had very rough stuff happen, and thank God, not me. So there you go.
Thank you, Brendan, for that question. 2, 3 of them. I appreciate that. Those are good ones. West of the Rockies, let's talk to Andy, continuing open lines from Bakersfield, California. Andy, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hi, Connie.
Hey.
Did you ever know that you're my hero? Hey, I'm glad to thank you very much for taking my call. In 1986, me, my nephew, my sister, and her husband were camping at the Kern River, where we seen at that time they said was a stealth fighter that crashed at the Kern River. And I took pictures of it. It was plummeting to the ground. So we ended up being on every paper in the surrounding area, the front page on every paper, with a huge story on it. But what I wanted to tell, I'm sorry, what's her name?
Melinda. Yeah.
Yeah, that we were taken to a secret military base that stretched from the Kern River to Las Vegas area and underground, and I was treated pretty roughly because I wasn't going for everything they said.
Wow.
But I'm just confirming what she says about this. This is all true stuff because I know. I mean, I was on the front page of every newspaper because I witnessed this airplane crash.
So when you went on the base, I mean, why? Why did they take you on the base? To get the info from you?
Yeah, to get information from us and, to talk to us and just really trying to, get us to say other things. But, we got to a reporter that ended up taking the whole story. And he's the one who did the story. And then I'm trying to remember the guy's name that went up there and looked at the crash site. Is Peter something. You guys had him on your show a couple times because.
If we can just go back, they were trying to tell you to tell another story that you didn't see what you said you saw.
Yeah, he was kind of being a little rough with us.
When you say rough, what do you mean? Physical or verbal?
No, he didn't. There was none of that. Just what he said. He took all my pictures that I took, and they also gave me back pictures of our camping trip. That was, blown up pictures of the camping trip. But they were wanted to swear us to not say anything about it, but my father was in the military. He advised us to say, tell the story. So that's what we did.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that information. Yeah, it goes back to, I know there are people that want every little piece of evidence. A lot of times it's people that have never seen anything. Once you see something, it's all that other stuff doesn't even, I'm speaking for me. All the other stuff's like, I don't care. I know what I saw and I want to see more. And it's more about that. But there's other people too that they want to prove everything. And I'm glad that people are out there like that, especially for the other people that have to have that evidence. But I wish more and more people, would get out there and look and see for themselves and not be so upset and angry when these things, when they haven't seen it and they want the evidence bad. It's I don't know. It's just get out there and see it. And when you see it, you'll understand that some of these things will never be proven by us. They're not human, and they don't even, you just can't do it. Put it in our science, correct?
Connie, I agree completely. And I want to thank that gentleman for sharing. I know it's hard to get on the radio and share story and stuff. And thank you. That took bravery, and I really appreciate it. And
that was great.
Even more so for giving a story that helped back me up, that said this kind of stuff happened. So I appreciate that very much. But Connie, you were so right with what you were just saying. I get it. People want the evidence. There's no trade for personal experience, and I love providing that to people. They come out with me. They see it for themselves. It's a cliche, but it's true. Seeing is believing. There's no trade-off for having your own personal experience.
It's just absolutely amazing when you see it for yourself, any of these things. And the thing is, some people, I guess they see one thing or have one experience and that's it. And they talk about it forever or, and usually the reason why they don't see anything else again is they're having to talk about it forever. But if you just, as a researcher, just keep going out and going out and going out where the activity is, you will just see it over and over again. And it's absolutely amazing. It really is. So let's see if we can't grab another really quick call. Wildcard line number 5. Let's talk to Chrissy out of Missouri. Hey there, Chrissy. Welcome to Coast AM. How are you?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. My question is, if these beings, are they nice? Are they friendly? Are they just very, very curious of us? And if one of them's listening, there are people out there are willing to take our, welcome you to our planet. If they're curious, we're curious about you too. Have you ever met one?
Well, okay. First off, easy answer to your question is...
And Melinda, we got probably a minute.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make this quick. So truth is we don't really know for sure. And then the government, if they know and they're interacting with them, they're not telling us. Or covert entity or, whoever it is that's interacting with them, they're not sharing that information. That's part of what's wrong is they have this relationship with these beings and they're not sharing that with the world. And so we can't know that knowledge about our place in the universe. That's wrong on many levels. Okay, first off. Secondly, my own personal experiences and the experiences of other people who've had contact or
Real quick.
There's a mix of stuff. They're not good or bad. They seem to be indifferent. It tends to be mostly clinical in nature, certainly with my own experiences. And I think I've had a mix. I think that's the easy answer.
There you go. And there's a variety. There's many of them, the different ones. Stay with us. Talking with Melinda Leslie. It is Open Lines, and you're listening to Coast AM. Open Lines continue here on Coast to Coast AM. Connie Willis here with you and having a great time. We've got Melinda Leslie that has stuck around with us. She is found at UFOsightingtours.com. She does all sorts of different things, and you can learn all about her by going to UFOsightingtours.com. Thanks for sticking around with us, Melinda, and taking some more phone calls. We have a lot, so I'm going to try to hit as many as possible. You doing okay over there?
Oh, yeah, fantastic. The questions have been wonderful.
Okay, let's see. Let's go to Melinda and I got to enjoy some food together in Jerome just a few nights ago. I was stuffed. I was exhausted and I was stuffed, but it was still fun, and we got to go see some stars with your great equipment there. Wildcard line number 1. Let's talk to Ruth out of Maryland. Ruth, hello. Open lines. You're on the air.
Hi, Connie and Melinda. Thank you for taking my call. And Melinda, this is excellent, and I just want to, it's so interesting, and I wanted to thank you so much because you have given me an answer to something that I have been wanting to know ever since I was a young child. And my father, I grew up in Baltimore, and my father worked at Martin's. It was first Glenn Martin, I think, then Martin's, then Martin Marietta. And in the town that we lived in, which was the next town down from Martin's. Martin's is in Middle River, and we lived in Essex. There was a grocery store, an A&P grocery store there, and there was a whole underground facility that you were just talking about earlier that Martin's had there, and my father used to work there, and nobody knew about this place. And you're talking about different places that are like in remote areas. Well, this was right over top of a grocery store, and it had to be way down there because the grocery store was actually on the lower level. You had to drive around to the back of the store to get to the entrance of the grocery store. If you went in through the main road, you went down a big set of stairs. And I knew about it when I was younger, and my father was 60 when I was born, so he retired not too much longer after that. But I knew about this place when I was younger, and I didn't tell any of the other kids about it or anything. I just thought it was neat kind of keeping it a secret to myself. And I used to look in the grocery store and think, well, these people have no idea that these people are working underneath of them. And anyway, so, and you said they were working on reverse engineering things, but do you know about this, the one down in Baltimore, and can you comment on that? Please,
well,
thank you.
Unfortunately, thank you for sharing. Great story, and it just goes to show you how much this stuff exists in other places, But and again, offering a story to back up something I'm saying, so I appreciate that very much. But and sharing your own personal account, I am not aware of that particular base. I'm aware of some different books and whatnot that talk about different bases, but none of them name all the locations. There's just so many, and who knows what's in operation now versus what was many years ago. So it's kind of hard to know. But, I've not heard of that one. But thank you so much for sharing your story. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ruth. And let's go to wildcard line number 5, Gary, Mojave Valley, Arizona. Hey there. Welcome to Coast, Gary.
Thank you, ladies. Good to talk to you. I survived COVID-19. I had it back about a year and a half ago at least. And I've noticed since then that my eyesight and my color spectrum seems to have increased to a point where I'm seeing these specks of reddish, pinkish color lights that fill the night sky. They're specks of all the same color that if I stare in any part of the night sky, even the day sky, I can see these particles that start to form a circle. I can see the reddish color lights from a big distance away, and if I concentrate on that one section of the sky, these particles come down towards me, and they come right next to me. I don't know what size they are, other than they seem to be about the size of a dime when they're closest to me. And I'm talking about a foot away from me. I'm seeing this stuff every day and every night, and I've been taking notes and writing a story about it. And I believe that the COVID-19 may have increased my visibility of my color spectrum. And I've been unable to get it tested to see, but I believe that what Melinda was saying is absolutely true. The whole sky is ionized particles. I can see those. Even the best time I see it is between right around sundown, or early sunrise, where you have colors of light down towards the lower part of the sky, and then it gets darker and darker. It's in that lighter color that I can see those charged particles all around me.
How far is Mojave?
Coast.
Hey, Gary, how far
Yeah.
is Mojave, the area you're in, from Sedona? How far away are you guys from each other?
Oh, wow. Well, are you familiar with Needles, California, or
No.
Bullhead City, Arizona?
No.
I'm between Bullhead City and
It's
let's
about
say Lake Havasu.
how many miles?
I don't know the mileage, Connie, but it's about a 6-hour drive from
Oh, a
here.
6-hour drive. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Seeing the same
That
things.
area.
Lots happen in Arizona. Lots happen in Utah, in New Mexico, and Colorado. Kind of everywhere, actually, right? But interesting that you're seeing the same thing. Any comment for Gary?
No, just thank you for sharing. It's very interesting.
Yeah, Gary, good stuff. And that's, golly, that might be the first positive I've heard about the increased eye. Got a little X-ray vision going on there. That's kind of cool. Thank you, Gary, for sharing that. I appreciate that. Have you noticed what he was talking about, how they pull together?
No, what we're seeing is quite a distance. It's not like seeing something a foot away or something. That's very interesting. It makes me question if he's had a form of contact, okay, or is it something to do with his eyes? So I don't know the answer, but it was very interesting. But it seems to be a different description than what we're seeing for the most part.
Still seeing some crazy things, and there's a variety of different everything, not just in the species of alien and extraterrestrials, and even the variety of Bigfoot out there and the varieties of Dogman, but also in the UFOs and orbs and how things are pulled together, and how things separate, and some do and some do not in different shapes. And, we can go on and on about that. And it's so fun to constantly compare and discuss these types of things, and have people that are just being genuine, honest, and telling what they've seen, what they've encountered, so we can figure it out, as opposed to people that can embellish. You got to be careful about embellishing your story. I mean, you can't make it any greater. Just give exactly what it is that you see, because that's what's going to make the difference. If it starts becoming a fish story, well, then that's all it is at that point, right? Let's go to...
I agree completely.
Right. Yeah, we're trying to get the answers here. Wildcard line number 3. Let's talk to, it's Mayat out of New York City. Hey there, welcome back to Coast AM.
Good morning, Connie and Melinda. Connie, I love your bumper music. I believe that was Kool and the Gang and Get Down on It. I hadn't heard that in a while. Thanks for that. And we love when Tommy gets respite with the ladies. Always good to hear their voices, and Gina and both of them are gems. But 2 points of, 2 points and then a main question. Your thoughts on, and please respond to a previous caller's question, whether you've seen an ET. And also that inspired me to ask about whether you're familiar with a book called The Extraterrestrial Species Almanac, with illustrations. I think it was done partly through remote viewing by Craig Campobasso. But the main question, Melinda, has to do with whether you're familiar with, I think it was the History Channel some years ago, where I saw some footage of an underground base with a furious battle between ETs and humans, presented by Phil Snyder was his name, and I don't remember the detail whether it was Dugway Proving Grounds or White Sands, but possibly in Utah. And if you have my questions, I'll listen over the air. Thank you, Connie.
Thank you. All right,
okay,
Melinda.
Connie,
there
help
you
me
go.
remember these three. I'll go backwards, I think. First one.
Oh, no, it's up to you. No. I'm just
okay.
kidding.
Well, help me remember, though. Phil Snyder, because I didn't write anything down, but I'm going from memory here. Phil Snyder was Dulce, New Mexico, underground base, and apparently got injured in part of that, if I remember the story correctly, and he was a whistleblower coming out about that. I think time will prove him correct in a lot of ways, is my personal thought on it, and a very interesting story. Then I'll go number one because it's coming to mind right away. Yes, I've seen ETs. I am an abductee. I'm public as an abductee, and so I've had my own contact experience, and I've seen 8 different types of beings, 5 that fall into the category of what you would call grays. Actually, 4 are variations on grays. 1 is gray-human hybrid, and then I've seen reptilians and insectoids, or the mantis beings, and the Nordics. Nordics is just a catchphrase now for anything human-looking. All those are very, very common, and so I've seen what many, many other abductees also experience. What was the question in the middle? Do you remember that one, Connie?
Oh, man. I remembered 1 and 2, or 1 and 3, hoping that you would remember 2 because it was a book title. And I was like, no, she's got that.
Yes. The book by Craig. And Craig, if he's listening, is going to.
There you go.
I know him well. He's a friend. And Craig Campobasso, I have not seen his book. So I'm sorry, Craig, if you're listening. I have not seen his book. So I'm only familiar with it, and then I've heard of it, but I've not seen it. So that's where I stand with that.
Okay, I think we can take another quick call here. Let's go east of the Rockies, talking to Joe. Hey there, Joe from Long Island. How are you, Joe?
I have a main question, Melinda. With these goggles, you said that there could be 50,000 times a view of the stars. So mainly I just want to ask about that, like that sounds incredible. Like what are people seeing when they can see that level of an increase in terms of the stars?
Well, my point being, they just increase light by that much. So it's not that they're increasing the stars or anything. They're increasing how much light you see. So you're able to see a lot more stars. So like you would look up at the sky, you'd see a few stars, and maybe there's a big black spot in between, when you would normally look up. You put up the goggles, and that area is just filled with stars. I mean, Connie, right? You saw it. It's amazing. It's a massive amount. It's spectacular. Whenever I pass out the goggles each night and we finally get around to turning them on, my clients immediately gasp when they look up. They go, oh, my God, like they're just not ready for it. Most people don't realize how many stars are up there, how much it actually is. And, and it's worth pointing out right now in the midst of saying that, astronomers and astrophysicists now pretty much agree, I think unanimously, that every single star is a planetary system. What have we found, Connie? I don't remember what the last number was, 2,000 or maybe up to 4,000 planets that they consider in the Goldilocks zone, the distance from their sun to be an average daily temperature within 20 degrees of Earth, the distance from their star, and that all those stars, when you look with the night vision, are planetary systems. It boggles the mind. It's amazing. So much. And some of them have 2 planets around them. Some of them have up to 40 planets around them. I mean, I don't even claim to be knowledgeable about all that. I take astronomers on my tour, and I listen to them, and I repeat it back. But, so if my numbers aren't right, I apologize. But that's the beauty of the night vision, sir, is it increases light, and that's why we're able to see things better that are higher up or further away.
And that's when people see the fleets of things and just far away. And that's, why, because you can see so much. That's why the military does this. And
a third of what we see each night, sorry, Connie, I cut you off. I apologize. But a third of what we see each night, you can see, as you saw yourself, with your own eyes. You can see with your naked eyes. And the goggles just help you see the rest of it that's too dim or too far away.
So I'm cutting you off, Melinda. I'm cutting you off. I got to cut you off. It's time to go.
All right.
It flies, doesn't it? It just flies, doesn't it? I know. I'm like I was trying to get you. So, last words, Melinda. What would you like to say? Anything else, real quick?
Well, again, my kind of overall point to this interview tonight is just to say, look, what we're witnessing with this activity out there now is taking, like, for instance, what all the whistleblower whistleblowers coming forward. David Grush, who testified before Congress, and the pilots, and the other people coming forward saying crash retrievals, reverse engineering programs. This is taking what they're saying and multiplying times, on steroids times 1,000. We're seeing so much. And as I said, those three implications of, is it this much ET stuff? Is it this much reverse engineering? I don't know the answer to that. All I can say is it's a lot of it. You can see it for yourself. And it's just, it says why, again, it speaks to why that pushback from the government that we're getting right now about this current disclosure stuff. Obviously, those companies involved in this don't want to lose the goose that laid the golden egg for them, and I think the cover-up is bigger and deeper. That rabbit hole is bigger and deeper than anybody realizes, and we're seeing the evidence supporting that.
All right, Melinda Leslie. Thanks so much, Melinda. We'll talk to you soon. You can find more information from her, and she'll be putting up that evidence for you. It sounds like that's what's going to be happening on her site. And maybe she'll get a book out in the future to show all that stuff too. Go to UFOsightingtours.com. You'll find out more information about her there, UFOsightingtours.com. Open lines are going to continue. We thank Melinda for sticking around. And so let's see what you guys want to talk about when we come back. Connie Willis here on Coast to Coast AM.